So, good evening, folks. Here's Friday Night Tech Talk live once again, and glad that you're with us. And if you're new here, we do this every Friday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the East Coast, or from the East Coast. And we've got a few people from around the country and a couple of people from different parts of the world usually joining in. So if you're new here, type something in the comments. Let me know you're here and let me know where you're from. Every Friday, we go over a few of the stories from the past week in tech. And I pick out stories that I think are big stories of the week when there is a big story of the week, which there isn't always. To me, there is this week. And then I pick stories that I think you might find interesting and may not have seen or read every place else. So, first one in tonight was Brian. So glad you're here, of course. And he and Eleanor seem to be taking turns of getting in first again. Eleanor was right behind him. And Will is out there hanging about somewhere. I told him to come on and join in. Couldn't spell it the first time, so I had to go back and say join. But hopefully Will come in. And I guess Ted will be here. He hasn't sent me anything to tell me otherwise. He is usually here. And Will said he's going to try to make an effort to join more often. I think he said last week he would try to come in again this week. So we will see what happens. So if you want to follow along of the stories, I was put them on my web page. So I will share screen and show you where that is. Okay. So if you go to, let me get my branding stuff out of the way a little bit. All right, if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, if you click on today's date, you'll get just the stories for tonight. So these are tonight's show notes. So, of course, like I always do while we're here, I'll give you a little preview of what we're going to see. So I started with kind of a continuation from last week. Last week, Threads was the big topic. And so I started with a story that I found about Threads from Digital Trends. I just said some ways that Twitter and Threads are not alike. So we'll be going over that. And I always start with a story that I think is not the big story, trying to give people a chance to get in here. So that'll be one. And the next story will be, I said the week's big news, Nothing Phone 2. That got released 3 days ago. And I had told Jay Will a few weeks ago when he finally showed off the Nothing Phone 1, I said, well, you were the first person to get me interested in this phone. Well, now that the Nothing Phone 2 is out, and I think it's a pretty big upgrade from the Phone 1, as much as they look somewhat alike. I have that one on the way, so I've got my pre-order in for that. So I believe it says Monday they'll start shipping, so we'll see how long it takes to come in. But I went for the budget phone again, not wanting to spend another ton of money. And I was going to wait until a OnePlus Foldable came out, but I said to myself, okay, do I want to go for another expensive phone or do I want to go for another somewhat budget phone? This is a pretty premium phone for budget money, for $600. So I said, okay, I'm going to choose one or the other. So I chose this one. And so next story is going to be the Pixel Fold big vulnerability. It's aluminum, which Jerry Rig Everything showed us all that, but phone and reading a whole story about it. So why it's bent so easily. And then this I didn't know about until I started researching this week. Elon has a new AI company, and it's called XAI. So we're going to talk about what that's all about. That was on Mashable. And then Apple's Vision Pro, some early potential problems. That was on Digital Trends. And they're talking about launch problems, basically. And then back to Threads. And want to share better photos? Use Threads, not Instagram or Twitter. Threads shows photos much better than both, and that's a pretty good story about what the difference is. And we're going to end up with Threads once again. I found a story that says Threads excitement somewhat waning. So the excitement from last week hasn't quite held on through this week, and things have dropped off somewhat. So we'll be talking about that stuff. So let me stop screen for a minute. Back to the comments. See, what did Will say? Will said, is there nothing too usable on all networks? As far as I know, it is, Will. It seems I haven't seen anything, and I've seen a lot of reviews of it. I haven't seen anything to say it wouldn't. So, and we'll follow it up. But Threads doesn't have news, etc. like Twitter, and that's very true. And in the first article, you'll see some of the reasons why. So he says he hasn't used them much. Now, Will was in there ahead of me and Ted. I think Mike and Will were both in there ahead of me. But I've gone on, and now I'm doing what I always do. I'm posting my pictures and my workouts there like I do with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. So for me, it's going to be the same. And, when I post the video, my next video, that'll be on Threads as well as the others. So for me, it'll be just as usable as the others are. But I don't say much on Twitter or any place else about anything else other than stuff I'm posting about or videos that I'm making. So come on in, Will. We need you here. He said it's basically people just talking to each other, no trending topics. Yeah, there is no trending topics on Threads. It's not capable of having it yet. The boss is talking about maybe adding that. We will see. So since Will is discussing it, I don't know if he's come in, and I'm hoping he will. But meanwhile, we'll go on to that first story about Threads. So I'm going to go back to share screen. And this was on Digital Trends. So some things that are not alike. So they called it the 10 big ways that Threads is totally different from Twitter. It's by Anita George, and it was last week. So I'm going to put this in reader view. All right, okay, in the wrong place. Let's see if we can get rid of some of these commercials, and then we'll continue down. And if Will pops in or Ted, I'll let you know. Threads is here, and it already has millions of signups. Now, remember, this was the day after. Yeah, I think the day after it was released. Due to the ease of its joining process, it's immediately available for both Android and iOS users. And the fact that its user interface shares lots of familiar features with its main competitor, Twitter. So this just gives the contents here. What about the differences between the two microblogging platforms? How has Threads already distinguished itself from Twitter? Like many Twitter users, you might be hungry for an alternative and are wondering how Meta's app differs from Twitter and if those differences are worth signing up for and learning how to navigate yet another social media app. Now, based on what Will just said, it sounds like it may not be worth it, but we'll find out. And it's the kind of thing that, to me, you have to go try it. But we've already spotted 10 glaring differences, so she's calling them glaring differences, between Threads and Twitter, and our list below of these differences is by no means exhaustive. Some of them are good departures from the Twitter experience. Some of them are not so good. and some of them may be temporary because it's still early days. Very true. And Threads is still evolving. In any case, below we'll take a closer look at each of these differences and how they seem to affect the user experience on Threads. Accounts are linked to existing social media accounts. If you signed up for Threads, one thing you immediately okay, I don't have to read everything because you can't have Threads without Instagram. We discussed that last week, so that's how it's tied to your other social media account. And you can't delete it unless you delete your entire Instagram account, but you can turn it off. So for now, it's mobile only. Lots of people prefer to access Twitter via its desktop website instead of scrolling through. I do both. Instead of going through tweets on a mobile app. Threads does have a website, but you can't, I haven't tried it, but you can't directly access the platform that way. As of now, the Threads website just features a QR code to point users to its mobile apps, so you might as well just stay on mobile. And so at this time, if you strongly prefer to access your social media via desktop website, Threads may not be the platform for you. I totally agree. But it could be in the future. Mosseri did post a reply on Threads that indicated a website version of the platform is brewing, so I guess it's being worked on. And as you may have noticed, while you can't browse or create content on Threads via desktop website, you can view profiles and posts on desktop web if you have a link to them. Sounds like too much trouble to me, like the one earlier in this paragraph. Okay, so more differences. There's only one main feed, and this is a big difference from Twitter. Social media platforms are notorious for filling your feeds with usually unwanted recommended from accounts you haven't followed, but Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, for that matter, offers options for viewing your feed that allow you to narrow down the posts you scroll through to just the posts from the people you follow or have favorited or have added to specific lists. Twitter specifically has its list feature and following tab to allow users to escape its algorithm. Threads doesn't do that, so that's important. With Threads, you get one main feed to browse, and it's kind of a wild free-for-all. It's often filled with all sorts of accounts you don't even follow, which that's going to annoy some people, I'm sure. Although sometimes a few of the accounts you do follow make it to the top of the feed, so it sounds very hit and miss to me. The feed isn't chronological either, which adds to the chaos. See, I always like chronological if I can get it on any of these. And according to Instagram's blog post about Threads, the feed is intended to feature recommended content from new creators you haven't discovered yet. Didn't know that. So don't expect those random accounts to disappear from your Threads feed anytime soon. As of now, on Threads, you won't be able to escape the recommended randos on your feed without having to individually mute or block them. I guess that makes sense. Let's see, who's in it? Matt, welcome. Glad to have you in here. Well, you and I haven't had any kind of conversation, I guess, typing conversation for a very long time. I never get over to Nashville anymore. I remember a few years ago, I said on a job I haven't been to Nashville on a job in, 4 years now. So, but very glad you're here. So back to Threads. I'm watching for Will or Ted to come in. Okay. Threads doesn't have hashtags yet either. Another thing I think is kind of a big deal. Hashtags makes it easier to find content related to the topics you care about most. If you're obsessed with the latest season of The Bear, and who isn't, a quick search of its official hashtag on Twitter brings up tons of tweets filled with everyone's big feelings about certain episodes or characters. Hashtags allow you to live tweet about and find community around important events, movements, and even just sports or TV shows. This is why it's a shame Threads doesn't have this important feature yet. I agree. But don't fret just yet, unless you get bored. Hashtags are among the listed features that Mosseri acknowledged are missing from this early version of Threads, so it's likely they're working on it. Your likes don't have their own tab on your profile. on Twitter, when you like a post, the platform keeps track of those likes on your profile for everyone to see. You can see what some like by navigating to their Twitter profile and selecting the likes tab. Threads, on the other hand, does not have a dedicated tab for showing the whole world what you liked. As far as we can tell, it simply has two profile tabs: Threads, your posts, and replies. This is not to say that none of your likes are public. People can sometimes see what you've liked in the main feed as they scroll by. But at least on Threads, there isn't a dedicated, easy to access public section of your page telling all of your business. Some people want all the business told. No ads for now. This is a biggie, of course. Yes, at this time, Threads is blessedly ad-free. But let's be real. This is only the first full day. This was last week of the app's existence and public release, and it's highly likely that Threads will feature ads in the feed at some point. In a reply posted on Threads, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg seemed to indicate that ads or monetization could come to Threads after improving upon the app and reaching a goal of 1 billion users. And my guess is it's not going to take them that long to hit that. And maybe they've hit already, I don't know. But for now, enjoy your freedom from ads. That's true. Threads also, no DMs. Threads also currently lacks direct messaging. That's something else that's really missing. So if you're big on chatting with your friends via DM, Threads might not be the right fit for you. Now, of course, since it's tied to your Instagram account, you could go over to Instagram and DM anybody, I guess. So there's nothing stopping you from doing that. It's also unclear if adding DMs to Threads in the future is really a priority. According to a thread posted by Mercedes, messaging was listed as among a series of features missing from Threads. You would think they'd make that a priority, I would have thought. But messaging was listed with the word "may," about adding it to Threads like the other missing features listed. I'm thinking if they don't add that, it's definitely going to fail. That's my feeling. Okay. No way to bookmark posts. Another important one, I think. As someone who bookmarks a lot of posts every day, this was the most disappointing part of Threads. There is currently no way to save a post or bookmark it. Hopefully, they'll add it in a future update. Make them searchable and allow users to organize them into folders. We know you can do it, Threads. Instagram already lets people save posts and organize them. And Will is here. Hey,
George.
How you doing, brother?
I'm all right.
You sound tired. All right, I'm just going to finish this last paragraph. A 500 character limit for text posts. Twitter users who use the platform without a Twitter Blue subscription can post tweets with a maximum of 280 characters. Twitter Blue subscribers can post tweets up to 4,000 characters. Threads is currently somewhere in the middle, as it offers a maximum of 500 characters per post for free, which is a welcome change from Twitter. I agree. 4,000 characters is frankly overkill for a microblogging site, and 280 can sometimes feel a bit cramped. 500 characters might actually be the sweet spot that helps keep things concise. I agree. And lets us write out our thoughts without having to find other ways to abbreviate them with emojis or other methods. That's very true, I think. So those are some of the differences. And as you can see, some of the differences are kind of big, especially not being able to bookmark, not being able to DM people. I'm guessing the ads are going to be coming anyway. And the hashtags, I think, are three of the huge things that they definitely need to add. Just my feeling. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, they need like I was saying, they need hashtag.
Yeah, hashtags is a big deal. And why they're saying that
They need
maybe or maybe not with DMs, that's silly. DMs is a big deal, I think.
They need like trending topics.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree.
There's no point. I don't know. For me, anyway, there's no point for me to go on the app. Because if I could just talk to people, I could just message them.
Exactly. So you saw who was in here. Brian was in here. Eleanor's in here. Matt's been a subscriber for quite a long time. One of my first subscribers from back when I started. So I'm just glad to have him in here. And the funny thing is, he and I are only 2.5 hours apart. I'm in Chattanooga. He's in Nashville. But we've never met. But one of these days we will. I'm thinking, when I first started, and he started subscribing to me, I used to go to Nashville maybe 2 or 3 times a month for Enterprise. Now I haven't been there in like 4 years. So at some point I'll get over there and we'll probably meet up at some point. We'll see how that goes. So how's your week been? Rough week?
It's been all right.
Okay.
It's been all right.
You don't sound thrilled, but okay.
It's going. You know, I got 2 more days left. You know, I was off today, then I'm off again on whatever day that is. Monday.
Monday, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Folks, always pray for Will because he's got to work straight through 2 solid days every weekend. He does a great job of it too.
I'm just trying to get to Monday.
Hey, this is a man who is dedicated to his family, and it shows.
That's it. Just trying to get to Monday.
Yeah, Matt says when we get to meet one of these days, that would be great. Absolutely. All right, we're going to move on to the next story. You ready for one?
What's the next story? Let me see.
The next story is about the Nothing phone.
It's this one right here, right? From Mashable.
Yeah. You want me to? You want to read it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, I do have it on order, so.
Yeah, you bought one. It kind of gave me like OnePlus vibes a little bit when I was watching some of the reviews.
Yeah, but everything I've seen maybe 20 reviews on it. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. They say the camera's okay.
Yeah, and I'm getting split reviews on the cameras. Some of the big timers are saying, "Oh, the cameras are really terrible." Some of them are saying, "Well, they're just okay." But a couple of them have said they're really good. Like Mark, what's this? The Oriental guy, Mark Linsigan. He did a straight up comparison with the Pixel 7, which I have right here, and he thought that the Nothing Phone 2 generally beat the Pixel 7 on pictures in general. So I think probably its weak point is probably video, but it does a very
is even good. I heard somebody.
Yeah. And it looks like stabilization is very good, I think.
He couldn't say it because he said they told him he couldn't, but he basically
they weren't allowing them to show the photos until today, I think today or yesterday.
Yeah.
All right, so
I wasn't in the ecosystem, I would be trying to pick one up.
Yeah, so I'm kind of excited for this one. So, and I said it was Jay Will who got me interested when he reviewed the Nothing Phone 1. I said only you could get me interested. Well, now I'm hooked. So we'll see how it goes. So wait a minute. Okay, whenever you're ready.
All right. I was just looking through the thing.
Okay.
Nothing Phone 2 review. A worthy new Android challenger for the U.S. market. A big upgrade for its U.S. debut.
Yep.
Last year, UK startup Nothing released a really swanky-looking smartphone that American customers unfortunately couldn't get their hands on. Things are different this time around. Meet the Nothing Phone 2. The second flagship phone from Carl Pei, formerly of OnePlus trendy company. It marries the futuristic yet nostalgic transparent glass aesthetics from other Nothing products like the Ear One earbuds with upgraded specs over last year's model. A couple of minor visual changes with the signature LED glyph board on the phone's back add to an overall theme trying to make you look at your phone less.
Okay, hold up for a second. Ted's in here. Let me get Ted in here. Well, he wasn't here. Ted, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. All right, we're on the second story. You've been following?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
At least you're honest. Ted.
Exactly. All right. So we have gone through the differences that the Digital Trends had what ways Threads is different from Twitter. So we went through that story. So this is the second story. To me, the big story of the week, and that's the Nothing Phone 2. So Will has just started reading that story. So now you're all caught up.
Thank
Good
you.
Good
Okay.
news, bad news time. The bad news is it's hard to take your eyes off the Nothing Phone 2 while using it, kind of destroying its stated purpose. The good news, however, is that you want to keep looking at it because it's a quality Android phone at a very agreeable $600 starting price.
I agree.
Moreover, it's just nice that there's another solid alternative to the typical
Dollars
Google
more.
and Samsung options for
Yes,
Android use.
we know it's more, but it's also got a lot better specs and
Yeah,
a lot better processor.
so what was last year's?
Last year's was the 7 something.
No, I mean the price.
Oh, the price was
400.
no, it was 449, I
It was
believe.
$399. No, it's
You sure?
$399.
I don't think so. Let me go look it up. Well, keep reading.
These specs aren't nothing. To start, here's what you get for the $600 asking price, which naturally goes up to $800 with the most RAM and storage space. 6.7-inch OLED display with 120 hertz adaptive refresh rate, Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, 8 gigs or 12 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs or 512 gigs of memory. Wow, they got face and finger unlock.
Yes, it does.
It must not. Is it secure or is it like?
Somebody
think the
said
face one is
somebody says,
secure.
well, some of us just like face unlock. I do.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I just like having even if it's not secure. But
Yeah.
4,700 milliamp hour battery, two 50 megapixel lenses on back, so no zoom lens, and a 32 megapixel front camera. The main thing you'll notice about the Phone 2 right away is that it feels premium despite a high mid-range price. Its display is huge with 1,000 nits of peak brightness and 2412 by 1080 resolution that keeps things looking sharp enough. I'm on the record as not being a huge fan of phones of this size, as it requires oh god, it's too big for me. Two-handed use most of the time.
Yeah, it's probably too big for you. That's true.
Yeah, but at least Phone 2 is very light and breezy to hold. Yeah, for me, I like the iPhone Pro whatever and the regular size. That's good enough for me. Visually, the Phone 2 treads the same path as the Phone 1 with a transparent glass back that showcases a glyph pattern of LEDs that serve various purposes. More on that in a bit. This year's glyph pattern is slightly different with more individual LED strips making up a similar pattern. Still, though, if you saw last year's phone, you've pretty much seen this one. If you didn't, congratulations, it's pretty cool. Other bits and bobs include a power button on the right side and a volume rocker on the left. A USB-C port for charging graces the phone's bottom, while an in-display fingerprint reader is used for biometric unlocking by default. There's also a face unlock option if you prefer that, but the fingerprint reader worked perfectly fine for me.
There you go.
The Glyph Glam. The Glyph looks rad at least. No, that's the guy talking about it. Obviously, the main point of interest with the Phone 2 is the Glyph interface. It's the one thing nothing offers that you can't get on any other phones that I know of. And at least in theory, it's kind of cool. The basic idea is that you're supposed to set the Phone 2 face down and let the glyph lights tell you what's going on. This can range from notification lights that shine until you open said notification to a physical light-based progress bar for your Uber ride. I didn't get to try this one. There's a glyph composer that even lets you create custom ringtone light shows.
Yep.
Combine that with the Nothing OS's 2.0, which is really just a fancy version of Android.
So in that regard, I think it's probably like Moto. Moto just has that nice skin over Android that you like, and I think this is kind of the same thing.
What was that? New features and general vibe, and you've got a phone that's somewhat oddly designed, so you don't look at it very much. The new OS brings an optional monochromatic look, so individual app icons look less shiny and enticing, as well as a bountiful display of widget options for both your home screen and lock screen. Yep. There's even glyph lights around the cameras.
You see them right here. Yep.
In other words, you're supposed to use glyph lights as beacons while the screen is lying face down. In more active phone use scenarios, you're supposed to be quick and intentional with what you do, rather than lazily scrolling between every app you have. This didn't really work for me, but I'd hesitate to criticize Phone 2 on those grounds. I've been using smartphones a certain way for more than a decade now, and 1 week with a phone that tries to do things a little differently won't change the wiring in my brain. I commend Nothing for trying something.
So I give him credit. I'll give him credit for even writing that.
Yeah, yeah. That said, it's not a perfect effort. Light show ringtones and notifications are nice, but ultimately, I'd rather have my phone face up at all times so I can actually, see the notifications or who is calling me at a glance. Leaving the phone face down adds an extra bit of effort to that process, while leaving it face up means you'll hardly ever see the glyph lights to begin with.
So you really have to make a choice there.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you figure if you put your phone face down,
Right.
if you're in like a meeting or at work, it might be, you know what I mean? Because I think if you turn the sound off, do the lights still light up?
No, I did see somewhere that if you put the phone face down, it'll mute it automatically.
Yeah, so you'll get the lights. So it'll be good
Right.
for it.
Right.
And all the whole glyph interface and its knock-on effects with the phone's UI design feel more like gimmicks than transformative new features. But the good news is you can totally ignore all of that.
And you can't turn the whole glyph thing off, but everything I've seen, everybody seems to be even more fascinated by the glyph lights than they were with last year's, including me.
Yeah. Chasing the Snapdragon. The real reason to get the Phone 2 over Phone 1, aside from the fact that it's now available in the US, is that its performance profile should be much improved.
And there's what you were asking about the processors right there.
Yeah. That's because the old Snapdragon 778G Plus chipset has been replaced by the newer, but still not quite top of the line Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1.
I think that's unfair because he's still not quite top of the line. Well, it was top of the line, what, 8 months ago, 7 months ago? So that's
Gen 2, right?
Yeah.
Without getting too much into the weeds, that basically means the Phone 2 runs faster than its predecessor. Apps load very quickly, nothing hitches up or slows down in a way that's noticeable, and generally speaking, it's as slick as to use as other current Android handsets like the Pixel 7 Pro.
Yeah.
The real jewel of the performance side of things is the 4,700 milliamp hour battery, though. This sucker can run on a full charge for at least 24 hours. Can't complain about that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now here's where you get a lot of diversions. Some big timers think it's good, some think it's bad, some think it's in between. So, I found Mr. Mobile gave a pretty honest appraisal of the cameras.
If there's a weak link to the Phone 2, it would be the camera. To be clear, this mobile array featuring two 50-megapixel rear lenses is perfectly adept at taking handsome smartphone pictures. It's just not quite as good as other similarly priced Android phones.
Oh, one more interruption. Remember I said the guy who put it up against the Pixel 7 and liked the Nothing phone's pictures better? Well, that was Mark. I think it's Lens again, the Oriental guy. And the funny thing is, 5 years ago, he used to be the guy who ran Mr. Mobile's weekly show for him. So it's funny that they have very different opinions of the cameras.
Still, I'll show you what it can do first. Photos taken on the Phone 2 come out vibrant and colorful, almost looking hyper real compared to what your eyes actually see at times. This graffiti certainly looked nice in person, but on the Phone 2, it really popped. So it's like a Samsung used to be.
Exactly, yeah. But when you compare them with the Samsung, and I've seen one or two, Samsung is better, but it's still pretty nice, I think. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just mean the what's it called? The like how vibrant they make it.
Yeah, the enhancing, yeah.
Yeah. Portrait mode also adds a nice bokeh effect to your subjects and can work with smaller objects like this plant without much trouble.
Which I think is a beautiful picture right there.
It's all right.
All right, Ted's making noise. Ted wouldn't be Ted without making noise.
This isn't an impressive photo per se, but I like to show off this Pokemon art in my neighborhood as often as I can.
Okay, cool. Here's the bed.
As far as problems with the Phone 2 camera go, I wasn't super impressed with its nighttime photography software. Maybe it was a product of the environment. Nighttime shots can be tricky on any phone, but the closest thing to a pronounced effect I was able to create came with these two photos, which don't look all that different at a glance.
Yeah. Now, if you looked at the nothing phone and the one below it, it's much clearer. One is without night
They're both
mode, and one,
yeah.
they're both from nothing, but one was without night mode, so you can see much more with the second one, of course.
Yeah, but it still looks. I don't know. I guess it
It's
looks
not.
more.
It's
It's
not.
to me, it's not like a fake night mood. Like,
It's yeah, but it's not. One thing is it doesn't have a whole lot of detail too, and that's
but you can still tell that it's night. Like sometimes the
yes,
pixels
yeah,
it looks so bright that
that's true. That is
you
true.
can't
Yeah,
tell.
yeah.
The zoom lens is also fine relative to what phone cameras have offered for the last several years, but it sadly can't compete with Google's 30x zoom on the Pixel 7. Phone 2 only goes up to 10 times, and the results at those zoom levels are blurry and not really useful.
And I did see one that looked like I can't remember who it was, but they said up to 3 times it comes out really good. Once you get past 3 times, you probably don't want to look at it, and that's true with a lot of phones. So.
Mm. That said,
Pixel looks good at 5.
Go ahead.
that said, lower zoom levels still produce clear shots. This was taken at 6 times zoom. Like I said, the phone 2 can create great looking shots for your social feeds. It's just not Pixel 7 Pro or even Pixel 7a, which benefits from Google software features like Photo Unblur and Magic Eraser. Yeah, but you can have Photo Unblur and Magic Eraser on this phone. You just got to pay Google $1. What is it, $1.99?
That's right. And I
Okay.
gotta
Yeah.
say, why would you pay for a photo on Blur?
Yeah.
No,
Well.
no. Well, no, you wouldn't have to be paying for Photo Unblur because, like, I think I just get Google storage and it comes with it.
Okay. That makes sense.
You know what I mean? You're not specifically paying for the feature. That's just Google doesn't care about the pixel. So they're like, just give
Me,
everything to
me, I
everybody.
just grabbed my Pixel 7. I'm good.
The way I feel about Nothing Phone 2 is the way I feel about most Android phones. You likely won't be disappointed if you buy one, but I still recommend a Pixel over it. Wow, that's something.
Well, I mean, I think most would say that, but I've found a
Yeah.
few who don't say that. So,
Pixel's great, but
yeah,
I don't know. To
and
me,
it's not the best. I have found my Galaxy S23 Ultra beats any Pixel, beats any iPhone right now. It's still
yeah,
the
but
best phone out right now.
look at your Ultra is like $1,300.
Yeah,
Like it should be.
it was $1,200 when I bought it. I got to give you that.
Yeah, it was expensive.
Yes, very.
I'm just surprised that they're recommending the Pixel over it because Google's track record of like.
Well, like I said, Mark, he liked the pictures from this better than the Pixel 7. So, it's always going to be a matter of subjective taste.
Yeah, that's true. Nothing's unique approach to UI design is worth commendation to be sure, even if it didn't produce its intended effect on me during my time with the phone. It's admirable to want people to be more careful with their phone use. And even if you choose to ignore that side of the phone too, you're left with a fast, slick Android phone that almost certainly looks cooler than anything your friends have.
That's true.
Nothing's second attempt at a smartphone glory isn't a total slam dunk, but at least belongs in the highlight reel.
No, and if you saw Flossie's, and of course, one thing I like when Flossie does reviews, he usually doesn't curse much, but in this one he did because he kept saying, "Listen, they're gonna say it looks like an iPhone," and you just go say, "Look on MF, can your iPhone do this?" And he kept saying, Flossie, he kept saying it over and over again, So it does stand out,
Yeah.
So Taya, you haven't said much about it. You're the photographer here.
Ted's not buying no nothing phone.
I ain't buying nothing.
And as we all know, nothing from nothing leaves nothing. Okay, so anyway, I have it on the way. I'm hoping maybe it'll be in my hands before next Friday's show, but since
And what was the processor again?
Nothing.
The Snapdragon 8 Gen 1.
Yeah,
That's a pretty
yeah,
good
people are
processor,
gonna.
we all
It seems
know.
like you gotta really like lights on the back of a phone to and not get a 7A.
But I already have a 7. Although I suspect, I could be wrong. I suspect I'm going to end up liking the Nothing Phone 2 more than I like my Pixel 7. Now, admittedly, I don't have the Pixel 7 Pro, but that's just because I'm not just looking at the photos, even though that's, I'm kind of known for that. I'm looking at the whole phone thing. And part of what's making me realize there's a lot more to phones than just photo is the Motorola Razr, because that phone is just gorgeous. I don't care how you slice it. So it's kind of opened my mind up a little bit more, which is good. So anything else about it? Anything else you got to say about it, Ted?
No, the fact that someone has to really like lights on the back of their phones and to not get the 7A instead.
Well, it was Jay Will that convinced me, because he showed me how and all the guys, no, not all, I'd say 3/4 of the big YouTubers or the big bloggers, they're fascinated by the lights. I gather when this phone is in front of you, the lights are going to get you most of the time. So kind of makes sense.
Like, ooh.
Are we ready to move on to the next story?
What about case options though? Like,
that's what I want to tell you guys. Everybody who knows me generally knows I never ever use screen protectors, but in this one I noticed I could order a case from Nothing with a built-in screen protector. And I did order it because I figured if I'm going to lay this on its face all the time, I better order their case with the screen protector. So that's what I did. So this will be a first for me.
Yeah, that makes.
What happened to you? Ted, did we just lose you?
No, I'm right here.
Oh.
Yeah, I said that makes sense.
Okay, I lost the word sense. I never heard the word sense. Okay. Yes, I just figured it was the smart thing to do. So, Will, were you going to say something else?
No.
Okay. All right. I'm going on to the next story. This has to do with Elon's new AI company. No, it doesn't. This has to do with the Pixel Fold vulnerability that Jerry Rig Everything really showed up. So, you want to take that one, Ted?
Yeah, I'll take it. How do I sound, by the way?
You sound good. Except you have something else going on in the background, like another voice or Google or something.
No, that's just my dalliance.
Your dalliance.
Enjoying a show, Insecure or whatever.
Well, we can hear it in the background. So you asked how your sound was. So I just thought I'd tell you.
Hey, honey bunch. Honey bunch. Delina.
Can't even get her to listen to you.
Could you take that to the bedroom, please? It's coming up on the live, the show. Do you hear that part?
Yes.
Yeah, you hear how they talk back.
Boy, I don't do that.
All right. You gotta let me know what you do, Will. After the stream. Anyway.
What happened?
All right, so
hold on, I missed it. What happened?
You didn't miss much. All right, so the Pixel Fold big vulnerability. Mm-hmm. It's Google's use of aluminum instead of stainless steel leaves the Pixel Fold vulnerable. This is by Alan Friedman. He's on the 8th of July. Last week we told you about the first. Hold on. I can show you the video now.
Okay. Oh, you actually going to let us see? He's gracing us with his face.
All right. So last week we told you about the first Jerry Rig Everything video on the Pixel Fold, which showed how easy it is the phone is to bend. The other way, I presume.
Yeah, I watched that as soon as it came out, and it was pretty easy to bend for him.
The internal screen is vulnerable to getting scratched by fingernails, keys, and coins thanks to the protective plastic surface. Video about durability. Now, Zach Nelson, the tech reviewer behind the videos, released his teardown of the Pixel Fold And the video shows us where Google might have taken the wrong turn with its first foldable device.
Yeah.
One of the first reasons why the Pixel Fold folded up so easily has to do with the material Google used in the construction of the Pixel Fold's frame. Instead of using stainless steel, Google turned to aluminum to make the Pixel Fold as thin as possible. Couldn't you get thinness? Never.
No,
Google might have succeeded in
the
making
aluminum is always going to be thinner than stainless steel.
I'm thinking, why can't you get them both as thin as you want?
Because it has to do with the actual construction of the metal itself. And you're always going to be able to get stainless. Stainless steel is just naturally thicker than
Yeah,
aluminum.
like it's denser. Yeah, it's
density.
naturally
Yes, the density. Yeah.
But if you want it thin, like you should be able to just shave off a bit. Keep
But
shaving. Maybe it's a
then
construction thing.
you probably would get to a point where it doesn't make sense to use stainless steel. Then you might as well just use aluminum, is my guess, because you're making it thinner and
Or
thinner.
maybe because it costs more. Or maybe
I'm sure it
just
costs more. Yeah.
too. Google might have succeeded in making the device thinner than other foldables, but aluminum is easy to bend. The video also points out that the water Samsung uses for the Z Fold 4. While Samsung employs a rubber filler to waterproof the Z Fold 4, Google uses a hard plastic material that can be very brittle. Oh,
And I think that
Plastic
was a bad decision.
and that can crack.
Yeah.
Once it cracks, the level of water protection fades quickly. Well, if it's plastic, it will only fade fast if it's under the sun. You know, in terms of
Yeah,
brittleness, right?
but it will get brittle and crack much easier. That's the point. Rather than rubber.
They also says that he thinks the Samsung waterproofing is better because it lasts longer. That's a good point. Most of these phones, so it's not, crazy to want to keep them for a while. Continuing with the autopsy, Nelson took apart the internal display. Once the flexible covering was removed, the 7.8 internal screen, Nelson pointed out metal slats that were also spot on the 7.6-inch Fold 4 screen that are used to strengthen the crease. That's a positive for Google. Remember that the Fold is priced at $1,800, the same as the Z Fold 4, which it makes it all the more surprisingly how easily the Pixel Fold gave into the pressure while the Z Fold 4 resisted Nelson's attempt to put the Fold into the Z Fold 4. It also shows why Samsung called the Z Fold 4 Pixel Fold users are thrilled with the 5.8-inch external display on the phone compared to the taller, thinner, and harder to type on 6.2-inch on the Z Fold 4 cover screen. So there will be consumers who would rather own the Pixel Fold over the Z Fold 4. If you're not in that group and you have purchased the first foldable Pixel or you're planning on it, you might want to protect the device as best you can by purchasing a case. Check out.
Right.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree. Say what, just so people would want to know why it bent so easily for him, and that's why. Okay.
Google made it.
Wait, I got new comments here. Rand is here. Good. Yeah, Matt was saying you had no picture, Ted. So no, you're back to no picture again. Matt also said, let me get rid of this screen. Not mean to change the topic. Just wanted to tell you I'm rocking the Razor Plus, and so as am I. I didn't bring it with me tonight because I came straight here from work. But yeah, I absolutely love that phone, Matt. Absolutely love that phone. And Renz, as always, thank you so very, very much. You must be really, really busy the last few weeks because you usually take the time to just pop me a little change, but it's very, very nice of you. But we kind of miss your conversation too. So I know you're busy at work though, so I'm very appreciative, sir. Okay. Ted, are you still here? Maybe he's not. I guess he went to do something. Oh, there you are. Oh, now we've got the real Ted. Okay. All right. Back to sharing screen. And we'll get on to our next area. All right, this one is me, unless one of you guys want it. This is about Elon's new AI company. So, okay, for me to take
Another
it over.
one.
Okay.
Let me take it.
All right. All right, this
Let me
was
not
on
do the
Mashable.
story.
So whenever you're ready.
XAI. Yeah, because I don't want to do the Apple Vision Pro
Do
story.
you do or you
Elon Musk
don't?
unveils.
Oh,
Don't.
okay.
Elon Musk unveils his AI company XAI. Ain't that named after one of his newest kid?
Isn't that what?
Ain't that name? It shares a name, well, part of the name of his newest kid, right? Ash or something.
I don't even know. I don't know.
Ask Google, George. Like, what's the name of Elon Musk's kid, newest one?
I won't ask it out loud, but I'll ask it on the phone. Okay.
I'll read you the story in the meantime. The company launched a website, a Twitter account, and will take questions on a Twitter space. It's official. Elon Musk is getting into the AI business again. On Wednesday, an official website for Musk AI venture went live at x.ai. A Twitter account also launched with the handle at xai. An affiliate badge for the individuals working at the newly formed company, evolving by changing his own personal Twitter personal bio to simply the XAI handle.
What happened? No.
I'm just reading. Understanding formation of XAI to understand reality, Musk tweeted. Musk offered no further information at the time this article was published. The official website is also lacking any details behind the project. Announcing XAI, the homepage reads July 12, 2023. Today we announced the formation of XAI. The website continues. The goal of XAI is to understand the true nature of the universe. Obviously, it's 42. Duh. Is listed on the website as part of the XAI team, including Musk himself. XAI employs individuals who previously worked with other AI companies like OpenAI, DeepMind, Google Research, Microsoft Research, and Tesla. XAI homepage also promotes an upcoming Twitter space with members of the XAI team where listeners can ask questions. The audio chat is scheduled for Friday, July 14th. Now, eagle-eyed Twitter users Twitters may have noticed that Musk hints at the company launch yesterday. Practically invisible, Musk tweeted alongside a photo of the Tesla Cybertruck with a camouflage-esque design. In the background of the picture, X.AI can be seen in a building window. News of Musk entry the past few months, the owner of Twitter and CEO of both SpaceX and Tesla, has been quite opinionated about AI technology, especially after the launch of OpenAI's popular chatbot ChatGPT. Musk has previously railed against ChatGPT for being woke or providing users political. Yes, I do have a problem with the wokeness of ChatGPT.
So do I.
It's unfair enough. In February, Igor Babushkin, a former senior AI researcher at Google's DeepMind, shared that Musk had reached out to him about potentially working on his AI vision. Babushkin is notably featured as one of the 12 XAI team members. That Musk was indeed going ahead with an AI project named X.AI Core. The Financial Times reported that Musk is already buying up thousands of powerful NVIDIA GPU processors in order to get started on the intensive data training work. NVIDIA is the real winner here.
Mm-hmm.
While the XAI website is lacking lots of information, it does interestingly take the opportunity to point out that despite the name, XAI is not part of the Musk's X Core. We are a separate company from the X Core, but we'll work closely with X, Twitter, Tesla, and other companies to make progress towards our mission. It reads alongside a call for engineers and researchers to apply to work at the company. X.AI joined Twitter, SpaceX, Neuralink, and Boring Company, owned and led by Musk.
So look at the update.
Tesla shareholders must be especially thrilled over the news. Update as of 4:28 p.m. This story was updated through to correct the name of the company to XAI and differentiate it from the website address for the company, which is X.AI.
Yes, there's no period in between. Oh, and you were right, Ted. I'm going to flip over to here. And let's see if I can share that screen. Stop screen. Let's go share screen. And you were right. I had no idea his kid had that kind of name. Okay, here we go. I just found a website with that name, and his kid is XAE.AI. that A-12. That's the kid's name. Okay. Let's see if I can click on that and get it.
Okay,
You know,
it's similar, but
yeah,
there's
yeah.
an
There's
E.
the
It's
name
a
right
E
there.
instead of
So
an I.
yeah.
There's an E instead
So
of an I. Got it.
he's kind of obsessed with X, I guess.
Yeah, man, he was a huge DMX fan. I guess.
I
X gonna
guess.
give it to you. We gonna give
Okay.
it to you. X gonna give it to you. First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll.
No, Max said he found a great case for it. Yeah, I have a case from mine too. It took a week and a half to get here from China, but then I found on Walmart the other day, they had about 7 or 8 different cases, a little cheap, got 10, $12. I ordered one. It looked like it was going to come from China again, but now I found out it's only going to come from Illinois. So I'll probably have that one in a few days. So I absolutely love that razor. So. Okay. Now, Will, you still with us?
No, Will is gone.
No, he was there.
Oh, no,
Will, are you
here he
there?
is.
I'm here, George. I hit the
Oh,
button.
okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
You want to take the next story about the Vision Pro? This seems like it should be you anyway.
Well, I got mine pre-ordered already.
No, you said you did. Yeah, I'm not. These are just.
What?
That's what he said the day it came out.
No, I'm not buying it. John.
I was buying it, so
I can't do it. That's a waste of money. I'll never use it.
yeah, and that's the thing. This
I'll
this
use
is something you probably never take out of the house. So my guess is you won't use it.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, George.
Okay, whenever you're ready, sir.
There's
And
a bunch-
this was on Digital Trends again, and I'm going into read of you right now.
There's a bunch of bad news about Apple's Vision Pro headset.
Yeah,
Apple-
and they make the headline sound terrible. It's not that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, of course they do.
Yeah, exactly. So go ahead.
Apple's Vision Pro headset is probably one of the most complex products the company has ever launched. But a new report has highlighted just how much Apple is struggling with the device. It suggests people are finding the headset uncomfortable and that it could take even longer to become widely available than we previously thought. The news has come to light thanks to a new report from journalist Mark Gurman, a reporter who has an accurate track record when it comes to Apple leaks and rumors. According to Gurman, the Vision Pro will be Apple's most complex debut to date and will require sorting out tricky supply chain logistics, training salespeople how to set up the device, and teaching customers how to use it.
And I think that's going to be a very intensive process, don't you?
Well, Apple is already set up with their little Genius Bar sections and teaching. There's some things called teaching classes in the stores. You can,
Okay. I just think I agree this is going to be very complicated, but you'll see as it go along, I think.
There are also problems being highlighted by Apple's product testers. Garmin claims that during testing of the device, Apple determined that some people with smaller body sizes and heads would struggle to wear the headset for more than half an hour or so. That's far below the 2 hours Apple says the Vision Pro will last on a single battery charge. To combat the problem, Garmin says Apple is testing a second headband strap, although its design hasn't yet been finalized. Speaking of battery, it's a standalone accessory that you slip into a pocket and attach to the headset via a cable. Yet Apple has realized that not everyone will be wearing clothes with pockets while using the headset, so won't have anywhere to put the battery pack in use.
Yep.
Seems like a bit of an oversight, and Apple has allegedly considered asking accessory makers to create shoulder-worn pouches.
Which Apple should have done in the first place, in my opinion.
A limited complex launch. As for the product launch, it's looking like it will be very limited. You'll be required to make an appointment at an Apple store, Gurman says, because the fitting process could be complicated. Apple is developing an iPhone app that will scan your face to ensure a perfect seal around the edges of the headset, which will prevent any light from working its way in. That alone will require Apple store staff to help.
And this is where I said it's going to be complicated for the staff.
However, because staff will need to be trained on how to use the device, and help customers with it. Apple doesn't anticipate partnering with third-party resellers to offer the Vision Pro until at least 2025. That means if you're hoping for a little retailer competition and subsequent discounts on the $3,500 starting price, you'll have to wait. And if you're outside the U.S., you'll have to wait anyway. While the Vision Pro will go on sale in the U.S. in early 2024, Garmin believes Apple is planning to roll it out in its next markets, the UK and Canada, in late 2024, with Asia and Europe following afterward. That's quite a wait if you're not based in the U.S.
So the earliest they're going to see this thing is 2025.
Slashing sales. Apple stores could also struggle to stock the vast number of accessories for the headset, according to Garmin. This could include a huge array of sizes for the Light Seal, as well as hundreds of or thousands of add-in prescription lenses. So wait, people are going to wear this with prescription lenses? Why?
I'm guessing because to get over regular glasses, they would have to be even bigger. So I'm thinking they're going to need prescription lenses in this thing. And they talked about that in the initial story.
But can they just adjust the diopter, like, change the strength of the actual monitor so that?
What do you mean?
Because you do that with cameras.
But changing the strength of the monitor is the same as creating prescription glasses for people who need a prescription.
Everybody's gonna have their own.
But like cameras, like you're able to adjust the diopter to match a prescription shape, like it's adjustable. Why can't the display do that?
You know more about it than I do. I'm thinking it's because prescriptions. You can't be exact without a prescription, I would think.
I can't even imagine. Nobody's buying the prescription lenses for this.
The people who have the kind of money to throw away on it, they have the money to get the prescription lens. I would think.
You're not wearing it like outside and going to the
exactly. But if you have that kind of money, why wouldn't you just go ahead and get a prescription if you need it, or if your kid needs it? Let's say.
I'm going in the submarine to look for the Titanic.
Well, let's hope it doesn't kill anybody anyway.
Yeah, right. Oh, God.
Go ahead, Tim.
The cases and screen protectors to account for it, too.
Oh.
These accessories would add strain to Apple's supply chain. In the end, Apple may only sell around 400,000 units in its first year, according to the Financial Times.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
but Apple did cut down because Apple originally, remember the story I did last week, said they originally thought it was going to be around 1 million, but they can't even get the supply chain to work, so they cut it back to 400,000 too.
Yeah.
1 million suckers.
900,000 figure that Garmin quoted in May, and far fewer than the high. What?
It should say fewer. You're right.
Yeah, far fewer than the high single-digit millions of units Apple had envisioned several years ago, the journalist reports. All in all, Apple seems to be facing a deluge of obstacles with its Vision Pro headset, from consumer discomfort to lengthy waits for anyone outside the U.S. If any company can overcome these hurdles, it's Apple and its legendary supply chain expertise. Yet even experienced operators like Tim Cook could struggle with this once-in-a-generation launch process.
And you know what I just thought of that I hadn't thought of before?
Vaporware.
Can you imagine when the EU gets a hold of this in Europe? They're going to drive Apple crazy with this.
Apple will be fine.
Yeah, but the EU loves to pick on Apple.
The same thing every year. Your phone doesn't have supply.
Well, that's true.
Apple, this is going to make
That's you?
People are going to want it more. People are going to be like, oh my God, you can't get it. They're going to wait. People are going to be buying it from, what's that place called? Swappa and all watch.
Oh, okay. How much would you sell this thing for on Swappa if it's still in the first year?
People are going to be selling it for $5,000-$6,000. Watch.
Oh, that could be. That could very well be. And people, well, that's what they do on eBay. They go out on eBay and sell it for that kind of money.
If you get that first, people are going to be selling that thing for a ridiculous amount of money.
I wouldn't be.
Hey, you're a Rokit, George. You're a Rokit. How does it play with when you have glasses on your face?
I take my glasses off. I've done it. I have it right here. You can see it. I've done it with my glasses on, and I need to do an update to tell people that I found ways to make it work with my computer at home too. but I can use it with my glasses on, but it's a lot easier with my glasses off. That's all. And of course, it does have a wheel on the side for you to adjust it. So I find for me, that adjustment is all I need. Now, people who have strong prescription may need more than that, but it works fine for me without my glasses. And keep in mind, I only wear my glasses in front of a computer for reading. I don't need them for driving or anything like that. Matt thinks the goggles are going to be a big flop. Shouldn't say that in front of Will, Matt. You could get beat up.
They're going to be a flop for compared to everything else sales, but for Apple,
for the average person, I agree. Yeah, for the people who have the kind of money that they can just throw away on that, they'll be fine.
But
yeah,
millions and millions, just like they said, they're going to sell. They're going to sell enough to.
Yeah, I think the 400,000 number is reasonable, but will they get to 1 million? I think it'll take them a couple of years to get to 1 million.
I say it's going to be on those things where Apple doesn't really seem to care if they don't sell in volume, like on the same status of the Mac Pro with the Xeon chips CPUs.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, like high end stuff, if someone buys it, that's cool. If not, we offer it,
and the
the Apple
studio,
display, the Apple display stand for $1,000.
Yeah, and the studio too.
Apple
They don't seem to care. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll just forget about them.
Oh, Matt had a couple of comments. When you said about Elon's kid, Matt said the name Moon Unit was taken already. Because that was Frank Zappa's first kid's name, Moon Unit. And you said you got the case from Zeg. Yeah, I saw the Zeg case, Matt. I just was not willing to spend the kind of money that they wanted. I haven't had a Zeg case in many years. But when I saw that price, I'm like, I'm going to go find. Yeah, Zeg is not cheap at all. So, yeah, I think it was like 40, 50 bucks, something like that. It was up there a ways. The one I got from China cost me, I think it was like 17 bucks or something. It took a week and a half at least to get here. So, anyway, I just want to make sure I address Matt's comments. Okay, moving on in the stories. I've got 2 more stories about Threads. The next one I'm going to jump around because, and this one's going to be me. Because it's very long and I don't want to read the whole thing. So the next one is want to share better photos, use Threads, not Instagram or Twitter. So this just makes the point that Threads does a lot better with posting photos than the other two. So I'm just going to jump around in it. This is on Tech Radar. Is that you making the noise again, Ted?
It's not me.
Okay. It's in your abode. How's that? It's that Dallas sound. I understand. All right. This is on me. This was on Tech Radar, and I'm going to put it in reader view to get rid of some of these ads. Instagram's Threads is a better photography app than Instagram. This is by Timothy Coleman from 7/9. There's been a toxic narrative about photography on Instagram for years now. That's true. Its algorithms inhibit forging meaningful connections around your own photography and with those you might want to engage with. And this photography app actually promotes video over photography. That's true. It's a reels and stories playground while photo galleries lurk in the shadows. Now, Ted, this being your area of expertise, anytime you want to jump in, you feel free. Twitter is no better than Instagram for photographers, and for different reasons other than its often negative culture and all-around recent unraveling. There are real limitations on how you can actually share your photos, and aggressive file compression, yeah, that's what everybody complains about, prevents others from enjoying your photography in all its glory. Yeah, I said gory. Enter Threads. If you're not already familiar with Threads, we've got a guide to everything you need to know about Meta's Twitter arrival, plus supporting content, including 7 things you need to know about Instagram's Twitter killer. But I've given you so much in the last 2 weeks, you probably already have all that. For photographers specifically, the new app combines the best of Instagram and Twitter being directly linked to the former, and adds a little extra goodness into the mix. Good. And it's still in its honeymoon phase, so hopefully it will only get better. The initial reaction from photographers to Threads has been largely glowing. You hear that, Ted? Professional astro and landscape photographer, I can't pronounce that name, reacted. This is the new photo sharing app, and he's not alone in feeling this way. So let's unpack why this.
Aaron Jenkins?
Is it? Oh, is that? Do you know who that is?
No.
Oh, I thought you might know, being a photographer. Okay, Aaron Jenkins is good. Yeah, I guess I should have split it up in my mind. Okay. Showing you, so it sounds like you ought to get Threads.
I don't have Instagram, so I can't.
Well, you need to get Instagram too. That's all. Okay, showing your photos how you want. Serious photographers, that would be you, who use social media platforms like Instagram and Twitter to grow their business are hamstrung for various reasons. And one of those surrounds the limitations of the platforms imposed on how photos are presented. Most pro camera sensors have a 3.2 aspect ratio, which flipped to portrait format is 2.3. Twitter and Instagram cannot accommodate this format, being limited to a 3.4 aspect ratio. If you shoot in portrait format, you lose the detail from the top or bottom of your photo. Is that true, Ted?
Never had it.
No. I mean, if you put it on Twitter, do you lose the aspect ratio at the top or bottom? The detail?
No. In fact, 2 years ago, Twitter pretty much had a huge update where it supported like all resolutions, no matter how weird.
And it's still there, or not there since Elon took over?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have Twitter anymore.
Oh, you don't have Twitter anymore either? Okay.
Yeah, I closed that.
Okay. Third-party apps are a workaround whereby you add a border to the sides of your 2.3 images to create a 3.4 ratio, or you can bite the bullet and crop into the top or bottom. Okay. Not so with Threads. I've seen 2.3 photos and photo carousels in mixed aspect ratios, all displayed in full. That's good. Even 16:9 videos flipped to a portrait format 9:16 are displayed with no top bottom crop and no messing around with third-party apps. That's really good. Threads is a no-fuss photo sharing app right now. So Mark actually did something right, or had something done right. Aggressive compression also limits viewers from enjoying images at their full resolution. Yeah, people have been complaining about that for years. Of course, looking at a photo on a smartphone isn't the best way to enjoy photography at the best of times, but compression further reduces image sharpness. Initial signs with Threads suggest that less compression is being applied to photos than on Twitter. You can pinch, zoom, and there's still plenty of sharp detail there. Well, that's good to know. There are early image limitations in Threads, however, like how landscape photos don't rotate when you turn your phone horizontal. Oh, that's interesting to know. I'd expect something like that to be fixed, but it's worth flagging. No auto rotate aside, though it's so far so good, and Threads is already going some way to appeasing serious photographers. So I'm not going to read the rest, but so it sounds like if you want your photos to show up on social apps, well, get Threads, I guess. Ted, you should be getting Instagram and doing the experiments for us and reporting back to us in a week or two. That's what you should be doing. I can see you're thrilled to do that. I can tell by your face. Okay, so didn't want to go through all of that, but I just wanted you to know that supposedly it's a whole lot better. Will, you ready to do one more?
For now.
Will, are you there? Oh, he muted himself. Will, unmute yourself if you're there. Okay, he walked away again. I hope he didn't go to sleep on us like last week. It doesn't sound like it, though. All right, you want to take this last one? This one's very short, I believe.
Sure. Can't find the story though. What the hell? I
Oh,
lost
wait.
it.
This is Threads excitement somewhat waning. It's the last story. You're not finding it? If you don't, I'll get it.
Hmm.
No?
I gotta go into the website again. All right, let's see. All right, got it.
This was on CNBC.com. All right, whenever you're ready.
All right, Meta Threads off since Red Hot debut, tracking firms say. Facebook's Twitter killer Threads has seen drops in daily active users and time spent on apps since the weekend, according to Sensor Tower and SimilarWeb. But with 100 million signups in only 5 days, it's still one of the fastest debuting apps of all time and seems to be siphoning some traffic from Twitter. Well, what comes up must come down, at least in the case of user engagement on Threads, Meta's new Twitter competitor. Last week, the text-based social media platform reported a record 100 million signups in just 5 days, but according to data from Sensor Tower and SimilarWeb, the service has seen some drop-off. The Threads launch really did break the internet, or at least Sensor Tower models. Anthony Bartolacci, managing director at Sensor Tower, a marketing intelligence firm, told CNBC, in the 10-plus years Sensor Tower has been estimating app installs, the first 72 hours of Threads was truly in a class by itself. But, he added, a Sensor Tower data suggests a significant pullback in user engagement since Threads launched. On Tuesday and Wednesday, the platform's number of daily active users were down from 20%, or down about 20% from Saturday, and the time spent per user was down 50% from 20 minutes to 10 minutes.
So that would have been Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, by the way.
These early returns signal that despite the hoopla during its launch, it will be an uphill climb for Threads to carve out space in most users' social network routine, Bartolacci said. The backing of Meta and integration with Instagram likely gives Threads a much higher flood than other services, but it will need more compelling value proposition than simply Twitter, but without Elon Musk. Data from SimilarWeb, a digital data and analytics company, showed similar trends. Threads saw a drop-off of more than 25% in daily active users between its July 7th peak and Monday for Threads users on Android phones. The company is not yet finished calibrating its model with iOS data. SimilarWeb data also suggested that usage time dropped by more than half, with the average amount of time US users spent on the app dropping from 20 minutes on July 6th to over 8 minutes on July 10th. We did see engagement drop somewhat over the weekend, and on Monday we estimate Threads had 36.6 million active users on Android. While there was an intense interest in checking out the app initially, not every user has made a habit of visiting Threads as often as they might other social apps. Since its debut on July 5th, Threads made headlines for its Instagram sign-up integration algorithmic feed from advertisers. Within 1 day of Threads launch, The Verge reported that users had already posted more than 95 million posts and 190 million likes based on the internal company data it had viewed. Threads is still in its extremely early days, and it's natural for a sign-up boom to taper off as users explore new service and whether the community and the toxic pushes are fit. A Meta spokesperson noted that while it's early days, we're excited about the initial success of Threads, which has surpassed our expectations. We launched the app just over a week ago, and our focus is now ensuring stable performance, delivering new features, and continuing to improve the experience in the coming months. The company also noted that CEO Mark Zuckerberg has commented on Threads that most of its growth is organic and not the result of promotions.
Well, that's true.
At the expense of Twitter, Adam Mosseri, head of both Instagram and Threads at Meta, has been vocal about the fact that he does not plan to prioritize news or politics on the new platform, meaning that it may not serve as an apples-to-apples Twitter replacement for some power users. Politics and hard news are inevitably going to show up on Threads. They have on Instagram as well to some extent, but we're not going to do anything to encourage those verticals. Meta only needs 1 in 4 Instagram users to use Threads monthly for it to be as big as Twitter. Wow. Jasmine Enberg, a principal analyst at Insider Intelligence, said in a statement, some of the engagement have siphoned straight from Twitter. In the first couple of days of peak Threads activity last Thursday and Friday, Twitter web traffic was down about 5% the same days of the previous week. These are admittedly very early indicators, but they do show Threads has the potential to steal significant usage away from Twitter, particularly as the Threads app team starts to fill in missing features like hashtags and topical search.
Yep. So I think it behooves them that much more to put in things like hashtags and the things that are missing that like Will and I thought were important. So I think they need to get that stuff in there. So that's all I've got today. Will, are you still there? Or you're not? Oh, you're back. Okay. All right. That was the last story because you disappeared on us for a little while.
Oh yeah, the dog is killing me.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. Back to the chat. Okay, Matt had one more comment. I tried 2 different cheap cases from China. This was for the Razr, and they didn't have the microphone holes. Mine does have the microphone holes. I agree that $55 was a lot for a case, but you want to protect the price. Yeah, and I agree. I just figured I tried this one that I found on there first, and it's working out just fine. I've actually used it at work yesterday, and it was great. So I'm very happy with it, but I did order another cheap one too, just in case. So that's everything for tonight, guys. So I know what Will's doing for the next 2 days. He'll be working his tail off, working straight through like he always does. Ted, you got anything exciting happening this weekend?
Yeah, I'm moving.
I thought you moved last week.
No, I was moving, moving stuff.
Oh, okay.
Where are you moving to, Ted?
Nah, I'm still going to be in Dallas. Don't worry.
He's moving from Dallas to Dallas.
Yeah.
You know those Texans hate to leave Dallas. So will you be finished moving once this weekend is done, or you still be in the process of it?
No, yeah, this is it. I'll be done moving past Sunday.
Okay, good. All right. Well, if I were there, I'd help you, but I'm not, so I can't. So,
all right.
And if all those who've been praying for Eleanor's feet, her feet seem to be healing pretty well. She did do some research on her own and found the type of operation she had, and keep in mind she had it on both feet at the same time, can take up to a year to completely heal. But generally, she's back to work and seems to be doing rather well. Ted, you disappeared.
Oh, no. Let me delete all these tabs and get to you.
Okay.
I'm coming. Here I am.
There you go. Okay.
It looks like if I go to another tab, it goes away.
All right. What time do you start tomorrow, Will? 7 in the morning? All right. So we shouldn't be holding you anymore, should we? You're away from the microphone. That's easy to tell. Anyway, all right. We will see you next week. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Ted, for making the show much, much more interesting than with just me. And as always, you guys do a great job. Matt, thanks for being here, and thanks for all the comments. You made the show itself much more interesting, and I appreciate it very much. And, of course, as always, thanks to Brian, Eleanor, and Renz. You guys always come through. You guys are always awesome. So we will see you guys next week. We'll be here again. Maybe, cross your fingers, that my new Nothing Phone 2 will be in my hands, but I'll let you know if it's in my hands or on the way. Either way, I'll still be enjoying my Razr, and I'll try to remember to bring more phones with me next week. When I come straight here from work, I just what are the 2 phones I had with me that day at work. So you guys have a very blessed weekend, and let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. See you next week, folks.